Captain Marel.
This is Jack Burton in the Pork Chop Express, and I'm talking to whoever's listening.
Calling the War Council of Gallifrey. This is the Doctor.
I am Iron Man.
Tell me. Do you bleed?
Everything's perfectly all right now. We're fine. We're all fine here now. Thank you. How are you?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to the Following the Nerd Flubel Half an Hour of Wonder. My name is Saxon, and joining me tonight is Mr. Titter Titter himself, Sir Anthony of Mirning. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Busy week this week, man. I can't remember why. That's right. So we did the Doctor Who review on Monday.
Yeah.
But then you stayed over because it was my other half, Elizabeth. It was her birthday on Tuesday.
Yes.
And she had a cracking time.
That was a really good time.
If I say so myself. So the original plan was we hung out for the day, you know, and then we would go down to a restaurant in Belfast. I need to give them a shout out at this point because this is twice now that I've let them down. Cosmos, which is this great little buffet place in Belfast in Victoria Square. The first time was whenever we were all going to go see Dylan Moran.
Oh, yes.
And unfortunately, we timed it a little bit wrong and we lost the table reservation.
Yeah.
And then we decided to go to the Belfast Christmas market.
Oh, that was
which was a wonder zone of destiny.
Yes.
So, we were walking around it, loading up on all these fancy international meats and hot dogs and the beer tent and everything. And it got to the stage where I had to turn around and say, "Look, I'm stuffed. I can't
do it
go to
anymore."
a restaurant. I just can't do it to myself." I mean, I know I don't have any self-respect, but this is a new low for me as a person. So we ended up having to call him to cancel.
Yeah. Well, in fairness to...
I hate doing that.
Yeah, well, we'll make it up to them. We'll come back. We'll go there again.
We shall. So, because it was Elizabeth's birthday, and we spent the day with her just sort of hanging out and having a bit of laugh and stuff and giving her presents and everything, it meant that I couldn't edit the Doctor Who video.
Yeah.
So when we got home, now you have to imagine this. So I'm filled with various levels of meat. I'm stuffed to the gills. I'm like a Christmas turkey at this point.
Yes, you are.
I even start to look like one. So I'm ready for death. You
did look like you're breaking, like.
But I decided, do you know what? I'll start editing. So I'm firing away with the edit and what have you. And I just get to the point where I'm like, right, I need to take Anthony home, and I'm ready for going to bed. So fired you home. I went to sleep myself. Woke up about 2 o'clock yesterday, and I went, Doctor Who review. The deadline's Wednesday evening. So I bashed through it as hard as I could, finished that up, and you would have thought, that's it now. Your old pal Saxon can finally relax. No. Real life decided to come in and go, here mate, you've got work tonight, come on, you have to go down to Belfast, come on. I went, leave me be. So I went down and I worked, got home about 1am, and then we have our Outright Anarchy Christmas special that's going up on Patreon tomorrow. It's not finished yet.
Oh.
So when you were down the other night, we actually got you to record your bits to camera on the green screen.
Yeah.
So I've got all those edited now, and last night when I came home from work, I finished the opening titles. So all I have left to do now is the semi-finals, the final, the outro, and boom, it's finished. So it's all there. All the jigsaw puzzle pieces are there. You just need to put the final sort of sections together, and it's done. So this is the part of editing that I call the death zone, where I have to sit and just painstakingly put all this stuff together, and it's a real nightmare. But we'll get there. So then I went to bed this morning. It must have been about 6 o'clock or so. I fell asleep. I woke up at 6 p.m. this evening with Elizabeth jabbing me in the ribs going, Stephen, you have the radio show tonight, don't you? I went, oh God, why? What is this? So I can't be left alone. And the best thing is, after I finish this tonight, I've got to go home, finish off Outright Anarchy, and then just collapse.
Well, you have one more thing to do after that, which you have the one last review of Doctor Who.
I have so much hatred for you.
Well, I'm just there just to gently go, you're not totally done.
Yeah, so Doctor Who was, again, it was a weird one this week, much as it's been throughout this entire series. I liked it. I really liked this episode. I thought it was very enjoyable. It was very Douglas Adams-y.
Yeah, you would have got that vibe. Yeah.
the Doctor... See, here's the weird thing about Doctor Who, because it's written by a whole bunch of different writers. And they were talking about how they were going to get a writer's room together and it was going to be fantastic and amazing. Chris Chibnall wrote the first 6 episodes solo. 5 or 6 episodes he wrote on his own. Well, no, I tell a lie. That Rosa Parks episode, that was co-written by Mallory Blackman. But aside from that, he's written them all himself. So, yeah, it may have been a little bit ropey in places, but the Doctor was always quite consistent.
Yeah.
I.e. vanilla. So, now that we're in the back half of the series, there's all these different writers coming in. And they're bringing their own kind of flavour and their unique taste to it and everything. And it's given the Doctor more to do, but it's at the expense of her character.
Yeah.
Because in this week's episode, out of nowhere, as though she's done it ever since she regenerated, the Doctor starts eating grass, offers people soil to eat, and talks about sheep going to war with humans.
Yeah. That's just the start of it. That's not even into the main part of it. It just starts off like that.
But like, as the Doctor as a character, it's so random. It's so random and bizarre and so left field. And that's the writers not communicating with each other correctly. That's, for example, whoever wrote this week's episode turned around to Chris Chibnall and going, "Here, it was alright if the Doctor eats grass." And Chibnall going, "Uh-huh." And that's it.
Okay, so basically I can do whatever I want. You do whatever you want.
Yeah, but it's so weird and so off focus.
Do you know one thing is like with our review, I not bashed it, but just give my honest review of it. I went back and watched it again. Nothing's changed.
Really?
Nothing's changed. I actually regret watching it again because I thought, maybe it's because I was just confused and baffled with the grass eating and the soil and stuff.
I was amazed that you gave it. Originally, your plan was to give it 2 out of 5.
Yeah,
you ended up going for 3 out of 5.
And to be honest with you, rewatching it again, I'd still give it a 2 out of 5.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm still shocked by that.
It's the first part of it where it doesn't feel like they're even there. It feels like they're just reading off a script on the scene, and then...
Well, I mean, in all fairness, that's more a criticism at the series in general, because I thought the acting throughout it has been... It's either been super great, or it's been terrible.
I'll say one person who saved it, and a lot of people will agree with this online, is Graham.
Absolutely.
Graham has
Bradley Walsh has knocked it out of the park this series.
He has been absolutely amazing.
While you're talking, I'm going to take my hoodie off. Just in case the listeners are like, what is that noise in the background?
No,
it's very warm in here tonight.
It is. But saying that with like the other 2 characters, well, one character we know, Yaz, has just no character development at all.
Who?
Yeah. But honestly, it's been Graham. Graham's been saving this. Not saying anything bad with Jodie Whittaker's performance. Like, she's good, but she hasn't hit the Doctor moment with it. Like, even when you mentioned something in our review, or even before we even reviewed it, is that her theme tune?
Yeah, that's the first time I'd actually picked it up.
Yeah, but that's honestly, we've watched them all, and we've never heard of the theme tune. If that's the theme tune now,
but here's the thing, right? You can hum the 10th Doctor's theme.
You can
hum the 11th Doctor's theme. You can certainly hum the 12th Doctor's theme.
Yeah.
What's the 13th Doctor's theme? Because even though we heard it in last week's episode, I can't remember it.
It's violins. It was like a very soft violin.
Or something like that.
It's because
the 12th Doctor's theme is dun 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 dun. 11th Doctor's theme is the dun 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 dun. 10th Doctor's theme is that ooh.
Yeah.
But with this, it's not memorable.
But that's because we only heard it once. What they should have done is at the very beginning.
But here's the thing, though. I remember hearing that music before in Doctor Who, and I just thought it was one of their reprisal sort of things. It's like they'll have a certain... It's like with Chris Eccleston series, they had Westminster Bridge, which is that dun 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 dun.
Oh, yes.
And they played that throughout several episodes. And I was like, oh, that's their action song.
Yeah.
But listening to this, like the more I sort of thought about it, I was like, oh my god, that's the 13th Doctor's theme.
When did you hear it? I don't remember. Was this
before? It's been in several different episodes, and I thought that was their action theme. That was like their generic sort of stuff's happening, play this song sort of theme.
I didn't know that. That's the first.
No, that's the 13th Doctor's theme.
Good God, that's bad. That's the first time I've heard it, and it's been in the show.
Well, now you weren't a fan of this week's episode.
No,
I loved it.
Which is surprising because usually you would have something where you're like,
Well, I didn't super love it.
No, you.
I think I agree. It has a lot of faults. It has a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed the story. I thought the story was excellent. because it dealt with themes of loss, it dealt with themes of addiction, and how those can push you into doing things you would normally do. Because, it's been out since, Sunday, so I think we can talk about it.
Yeah.
It got to the stage where it was revealed there was a guy living with his blind daughter in a cabin.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy had discovered a doorway into a secret world where he thought his wife who had passed away was living.
Yeah.
So he got addicted to visiting her. And it's not just a case of, oh, it's you. It's the perfect version of her.
Yeah.
No fights, no arguments, no complaints. The sun's constantly shining in the sky. There's no overcast or cloudy days. Everything's bright and beautiful and wonderful. Mm-hmm. It's like a dreamland. So he's sitting, living there with her, and he has to make up excuses for why he's not around. So he boards up the cabin, and he sets up these speakers outside to play monster noises that are set for a certain time every day in order to trick the little blind girl into thinking, hang on, there's monsters out there, I need to stay in the cabin all the time. So that's how he knows that she's safe. He even has that line where he goes, oh, there's food in the fridge for her, she's fine.
Yeah, but I did like the fact is like the doctor and the companions called him out in that.
Yeah.
Like it's a throwaway line, but it was an awful, that was a major impact.
But that was again the themes of addiction. It's like someone who's addicted to drugs that has kids. They'll make up any excuse they can to get out of the house, to go
to get
light up or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And I just remember watching that going, that's really clever.
Yeah.
That's a really good, solid idea. I also love the fact that Grace was there in order to track Graham, because the idea behind this universe is that it's controlled by an entity that can't get into our universe, and all it feels is isolation and loneliness. Mm-hmm. And it does all this outlandish stuff to try and trick people into coming over to that universe. But they can't survive there because it's like antimatter or something, and the two of them cancel each other out and they'll die. So this thing is just so alone. And it's fragile, and it's going to that effort of going to that extreme where the things of loss and loneliness again creates addiction, because this creature, whatever it is addicted to our universe.
Yeah.
It's trying to pull as much of our universe into it as it can. So I really enjoyed that, and I also enjoyed the fact that it created grace for Graham.
If that had been a bit more longer, that would have changed my vote. That would have actually changed my vote because it was done so quick.
Well, it's you're absolutely right in what you're saying. It's a case of we've never really got to see Graham and Grace together.
No.
Like, we saw them in the first episode, yes, but then she died.
Yeah.
And her ghost has had more character development than her herself. The memory of Grace has had more character development because she does hang over this entire series.
She does, yeah. It's a big thing,
while that's a good thing, it's also a bad thing because it takes away any character development that Yaz could have.
Mm-hmm.
Because the only thing that's separating Yaz as a companion is the fact that Graham and Ryan have this great connection. Because, yes, they're technically family, and they've both lost a woman that was super important to them in their lives. Yaz hasn't had that. So that's why I was thinking they should have killed off her mom or her dad or somebody.
Or someone connected to her.
So the three of them have something purely in common, and instead of Graham and Ryan having those scenes, you could have Graham and Yaz have those scenes, or Ryan and Yaz have those scenes. But it feels like Yaz is very much the third wheel in this entire series.
Non-existent, to be fair, and and that's a sad thing because I feel sorry for the actress. She does have potential.
Yeah.
But she's just overshadowed with the other two companions.
And then we got the frog.
Oh, I knew you were going to bring that frog up.
No, I liked it. I thought it wasn't set up or done very well. Because the more I sat and thought about it, because the worst thing about us doing our reviews is we watch the episode and boom, we're straight into the review. You don't get time to process it.
Yeah.
So the more I sat and thought about it, the more I was like, well, hang on a minute. It would make sense if it was Graham going into that white room. Mm-hmm. And it was the frog on the chair. Because you had that scene earlier that set up that Grace loved frogs and the frog necklace and everything. Yeah. So it's a frog that has Grace's voice.
Trying to talk to the doctor.
But that doesn't make any sense. No. It doesn't correlate properly. If it was Graham going into that room, that would have made sense in a certain weird kind of way. But I like the fact that they tried something different. I like the fact it was a rod puppet. I would have been like, what the hell is this? A terrible CGI puppet thing. But no, it was a real practical puppet. And I like that because it showed that this thing can be whatever it wants to be. Mm-hmm. So if it chooses to be a little tiny frog sitting on a chair with Grace's voice, it can do that.